Okay, we'd like to call this meeting to order for the December 23rd meeting of the Town of Milton Board. We'll start with the pledge by Councilman Isaacson.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Could you call the roll, please?
Councilman Blaisdell.
I'm going to turn, hang on, Frank. Try again, I'll turn your microphone on, maybe you couldn't hear you.
Councilman Blaisdell.
We're taking attendance, Frank, are you here? There you go.
Councilwoman Kerr.
Present.
Councilman Froelich.
Any-
Present.
Oh, okay.
Councilman Isaacson.
Present.
There you go.
Supervisor Zalotnik.
There we are.
Present. Okay, thank you. Before we get started tonight, I'd like to take a couple of announcements that aren't on there. Once again, our Milton family has lost a former employee. Richie Pine passed away recently, and Richie was our animal control officer for a very long time. Even right up until September and October, he came in and asked if we needed any help when we were transitioning to new employees. So Richie's heart was always in the right place, and our condolences do go out to his family. I know Richie put up a good fight. If I know Richie, he put up a good fight, and we'll miss him around here. Secondly, I'd like to take a second and thank the Highway Department and our Buildings and Grounds Department over their hard work and many hours the last few days. I went to bed the night before the storm and we were in the 6 to 10 inch range, and I think when most of us got up in the morning there was way more than 6 to 10 inches on the ground, and so the guys have been battling for days, and I think overall they did a really good job. I did get a couple phone calls about mailboxes in the street that may have been not gotten to as quick as it could have been, but when you get 30 inches of snow, and I think our guys just did a really great job, so I want to take a minute here and acknowledge that. Okay, so moving on, we need a motion to accept the minutes of December 9th as presented.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Amanda, can you pull the board, please?
Councilman Blaisdell.
Yes.
Councilwoman Kerr.
No, I found several omissions from the minutes, and I'm going to vote no on it. Accepting.
Councilman Froelich.
What were the omissions, can I ask?
The two that I found, and I haven't had a chance to compare them.
Barb, here.
Sorry. The two that I found right off the bat, and I haven't had a chance to compare them to the actual film of it. When Mr. Rossi was talking to us about the Liberty Hills water, and my question was, do the homeowners know that it will be 3 times the village rate? Mr. Rossi responded to that, and his response is left off the minutes. Okay. The other one, when Gina Morosi was speaking about Liberty Hills and Lilith Fair and so on, the water, she did state that her father brought the water up to those areas, and that was also left out. So that's about as far as I got, John, but I'm going to continue through it, and I will compare them to the film.
So do we correct these minutes, or?
I wouldn't approve them if they're incorrect.
Well, we'll have to wait and
I'm going to vote no then.
we'll have to wait and get a better version of these minutes. So can we vote no or just withdraw the motion?
Just don't give your votes.
Okay,
No.
okay.
Councilman Isaacson.
No.
Supervisor Zalotnik.
No. Next item is a motion to extend our state of emergency. Thank you, Frank. Frank made the motion.
I'll second.
You can't really hear it.
Any discussion? Mandy, can you pull the board, please?
Councilman Blaisdell.
Yes.
Councilwoman Kerr.
Yes.
Councilman Froelich.
Yes.
Supervisor Zalotnik. Councilman Isaacson.
Yes.
Supervisor Zalotnik.
Yes. Next up is a motion to approve the licensing of Mr. Dingeling. Resolution, I'm sorry.
It's just a motion.
Oh, it's just a motion, okay.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
I have a question.
Not that I want to hurt Mr. Dingley, because I've chased him through the neighborhood several times when the kids hear him. But I'm wondering, what regulations is he under the COVID policies? And there has to be state approval, and do we have backup for that?
I hadn't given much thought to that. I mean, to be honest with you. I'm going to suppose that the man has to wear a mask. He will. The ice cream, he's not serving single-serving ice cream. Everything's wrapped in a package. He's not giving you a double scoop of chocolate or anything. I'm going to assume that wearing a mask is going to be what he needs to do. You walk into Stewart's, you can buy a ice cream sandwich or a Klondike bar. I can make a note, have my secretary get a hold of him and see what precautions he needs to take and report back to you. Do we lose anything if we don't approve him until January? Can't see him selling too much ice cream.
I'd be willing to go yes on kind of contingency that he provides any information that the state or health department requires.
Is that something that we would be involved in, or is this all that's required?
That's more a Department of Health thing, wouldn't it be? State?
Whatever, Department of Health, yeah.
Yeah, we're not the enforcement agency for that. So, right now, he meets all the zoning code regulations for this license, so we should vote on this license.
Benny?
Yes,
Benny? It's Brenda.
if you say
All
so.
we're doing, giving the license, is allowing them to do to solicit within the town. They still have to follow all of New York State's regulations, otherwise, all our licensing our permit is just allowing them to solicit within the town.
Okay, thank you, Brenda.
Yeah, this may be another area we're going to have to look into as far as our zoning goes and the regulations.
Any further discussion? Amanda, call the roll, please.
Councilman Blaisdell.
Yes.
Councilwoman Kerr.
Yes, but I'd still like to see the health department reports.
Councilman Froelich.
Yes.
Councilman Isaacson.
Yes.
Supervisor Zalotnik.
Yes. Next up, Resolution 66, resolution continuing certain real property tax exemptions into tax year 2021 pursuant to the governor's executive order. Whereas the governor issued executive order 202 declaring a state of emergency due to the COVID-19 pandemic and other orders which in part temporarily suspended the reapplication of requirements of RPTL Section 459-C and RPTL Section 467 until January 17, 2021. Now therefore be it resolved by the Town Board of the Town of Milton as follows. All property owners who received an exemption on the 2020 assessment roll under RPTL 459-C and 467 shall continue to receive the same exemption on the 2021 assessment roll without the necessity of filling out and submitting a new application in order to qualify. 2. The town assessor may, in his or her discretion, require a new renewal application only if he or she believes the owner may have changed his or her residence, added another owner to the deed, transferred the property to a new owner, or is deceased. This resolution intends to follow and adopt those sections of Executive Order Number 202-83 that relate to the aforementioned RPTL sections, a copy of which is attached and shall be effective immediately. Now therefore be it resolved by the Town Board of the Town of Milton.
I'll make that motion.
Need a second.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Jim, did you write this resolution?
Pardon me?
Did you write this resolution?
Yes, I did.
Thank you.
Amanda, can you call the roll, please?
Councilman Blaisdell.
Yes.
Councilwoman Kerr.
Yes?
Councilman Froelich.
Yes.
Councilman Isakson.
Yes.
Supervisor Zalotnik.
Yes. Next up, Resolution 67, interfund advance from the general townwide fund to the capital projects fund. Whereas the town board of the town of Milton must make interfund advances, and said advances must be based upon resolutions of the town board of the town of Milton. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Milton does authorize the fiscal officer of the town of Milton to make the following interfund advances from the general fund to the capital projects fund to pay for architectural and engineering services associated with the town hall roof replacement project in accordance with the MJ Engineering as authorized by General Municipal Law, Section 9-A. The advance will be returned upon the issuance of debt as authorized per Resolution 58 of 2020, approved by the Town Board on November 12th, 2020. It's in the amount of $100,000, and it goes, as it was already stated, from from general funds into the town hall roof project. Yep. Okay. I need a motion. If we don't make this motion tonight, then MJ can't be paid for the work that they're going to do or have started to do on the roof project.
The reason I'm not making the motion, Benny, and I don't really object to this fund transfer, is the fact that I stated in an email to everybody that if I didn't have something within 3 days of the meeting, I wasn't going to vote on it. And this was run out in about 10 different emails this afternoon and didn't receive it until about the final copy until about 4 o'clock.
Well, this was on the, it was on our board for our last meeting, and I didn't get it out to everybody 2 weeks ago.
Everyone received this on December 9th. John, you're included on that?
Not this resolution.
Yes, we did. Well, we did budget transfer.
Budget transfer.
And-
Resolution.
I know. And the resolution was, if I can find it, was there with it.
Not the resolution.
The attachments were there.
Well, what was I reading this afternoon?
But we knew that, we knew this was going through as a resolution.
Yeah.
Right. So it's, we weren't blind to the fact that the resolution was written today or whenever it was written. We all knew the transfer was there.
We got into a bit of a personality conflict this afternoon, John, with who was writing resolutions and who it wasn't. So
I understand that, but we've known for 2 weeks that we needed this resolution, and we wait until the very last minute again to push it across the desk. think that something needs to change, to be honest with you. But I will go ahead and make the motion, seeing as nobody else wants to.
Dave Raymond has a question.
Our controller would like to add to this. Hang on a second. This is not as easy as it looks. Go ahead, Dave.
Guys, this was actually proposed on the 9th of December. For reasons unbeknownst to me, it wasn't put on the agenda to be voted on at that point in time. All the documentation is there, and there has been no changes to the resolution that was proposed. So I guess, yeah, I think what we're heading into is just a formality in like the drafting of the resolution more so than what the original intent was. And I think what happened was that this is kind of a technical green flag that you guys probably aren't all that familiar with. This is called an interfund variance, so we are advancing funds from the general townwide fund or the A fund to the capital projects fund. This isn't as simple as an budgetary transfer or amendment. This is where you're taking money out of your A fund and you're advancing it to the capital projects fund to pay for the costs associated with the project prior to the issuance of debt. I cannot stress that this is, an important, authorization to make. Without authorizing the transfers there, we won't be able to pay our vendors that are providing services in relation to the capital project that was authorized on November 12th. At that point in time, or at the point in time, it was, decided to the debt will be deposited in the capital projects fund and simultaneously returned to the general fund. It's more or less just an interfund loan for cash flow purposes. And does anyone have any questions?
So will these funds be replenished once we have the?
Feel free to ask me.
Yeah, they will be, Ryan.
Once we have the loan.
Okay, thank you, David.
Capital projects are they're actually a pretty complex animal from an accounting and budgetary standpoint, really like fiscal.
I think we lost him
We have a motion.
I will second.
there. Thank you. Any further discussion?
I'm going to ask again, Jim, did you write this resolution?
I did not write this one, Laura.
Okay, in my opinion, and a resolution is a legal document that the town is held responsible for, and I'm voting no because I'd like to see our attorney write these resolutions.
Jim, did you review this resolution?
I did, I saw versions of it.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Amanda, can you call the roll, please?
Councilman Blaisdell.
Yes.
Councilwoman Kerr.
No.
Councilman Froelich.
Yes.
Councilman Isakson.
Yes.
Supervisor Salatta.
Yes, thank you. Next up is a motion to set a rate review for Heritage Spring Sewer Works for February 20th at 9:30 in the morning at a location to be determined.
I'll make that motion.
Any discussion?
Thank you. I personally, and I don't know how the rest of the board feels, a Saturday morning at 9:30 is not a convenient time for me, and I mean a lot of the residents who are home trying to get things done. I've come up with 3 other dates, February 18th, 22nd, 23rd. I mean, I'm open to other evenings at 7 o'clock at the community center. And I think it's all going to depend on COVID. If it has to be straight Zoom meetings, then I'll understand why we changed those dates. But I think with the 20 or 50, whatever we can get into here, plus the Zoom meeting, we'll cover it. And I would also like the board to accept written questions from the public if they, for some reason, can't attend, like up to 10 days before whatever hearing date we set.
Well, this was my request, and the reason I did a Saturday morning is I really thought it was more convenient and that people weren't in working and that we didn't have to rush home and get to a public hearing or a public rate review. I have no qualms if we want to change the date. I just want to move this thing along.
We can set the date, I just don't think a Saturday morning at 9:30.
People can't hear what you're talking about.
Sorry. I just don't feel as a Saturday morning at 9:30 is conducive to what we want to accomplish here.
John, take Ryan's microphone and we'll share. My own personal preference would be to have this on a regular board meeting night, either on the 10th or the 24th. I also agree with Bart that if residents have questions, they can write them, send them to us at the town clerk, and they can be put in, and then we will ask questions of the sewer company. So I'm in favor of the 10th or the 24th, the regular town board meeting.
I'm just afraid that at a regular town board meeting, it's going to go out too long. I think this should be exclusive. And, you know, set a date where we can all be there and, like I said, exclusive to the issue. Because if we get a lot of questions, we could, you know, I don't mind, we can be here till midnight, I'll do it, but I think, I don't think we should mix it with town board business.
It's too important.
I have right now tentative plans to be out of town from the 12th of February until the 22nd, pending on COVID regulations. So we can have it on the 11th or we can have it on the 25th.
25th is a zoning board meeting.
Okay?
Are you going to be able to return to work?
Right now, if I take a test, I have to be 3 days. So yes, according to the standards right now.
I think the whole thing depends on what happens with
March 4th?
March.
Does it have to be February, John, or can we go early March?
March is fine. We're okay with March. We're just looking for
I
a date.
think I agreed with you at the last meeting, John, that we should set a date. I just,
March 4th is a Thursday.
March 4th, 7:30 p.m.
That's good.
Does that work for everybody?
March.
Thanks, Frank.
Say 7 or something.
7:30? Well, it's a special meeting, so we can have it at 7, get done an hour earlier, half an hour earlier. It's a special meeting, so we'll start at 7.
right after work.
Okay, so do we need to amend the motion? I would like to amend John's motion to make the meeting scheduled for March 4th at 7 PM.
John's motion.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, John, you can amend your motion.
Yes, March 4th is fine. I make a motion that we have our rate review for Heritage Spring on Thursday, March 4th at 7 o'clock.
Tentatively scheduled for here.
Wherever, yes, that's fine.
Again, this will all be dependent on what happens with COVID, so. Okay. Amanda, can you poll the board, please? I thought somebody seconded it. Frank seconded. I heard. Frank, you seconded, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Amanda, please.
Councilman Blaisdell.
Yes.
Councilwoman Kerr.
Yes.
Councilman Froelich.
Yes?
Councilman Isakson.
Yes.
Supervisor Solana.
Yes. Thank you.
John had talked about questions about adoption. John was coming up now.
Well, I had made up, I started to assemble a list of documents I would like to see, both from Heritage, Saratoga County, and MJ, before this meeting. The first was a spreadsheet that shows hookups by address, starting from 2010 to present, to include the date the hookup was done and the fee that was charged. The second would be tax returns from 2010 till present. The other thing would be an engineering report from MJ Design on the condition of the system. When I talked to Joel today, he is on hold right now, waiting for a signature on a contract. And the last is a statement from Saratoga County Sewer stating that they are willing to take over the system.
Okay, we're only here for half a day tomorrow, but leave that with Amanda and we'll get as much of that out to everybody that we can.
Actually, give us all copies. That would be helpful.
All right, we'll get that taken care of, John. Next up is a motion to hire Nathaniel Akey of 5199 Armour Road, Ballston Spa, to the position of building maintenance worker at the rate of $20.38 per hour, effective January 4th, 2021.
I'll make the motion with a start date being contingent upon passing appropriate checks for background and driver's license, also including whether it's a 3 or a 6 month probationary period. I believe we usually do a 3-month probationary period.
I left that off, you're right. And we need a second.
I'll second.
Thank you, Frank. Any discussion?
Yes, I have a couple of things. When our discussion this afternoon, Benny, I asked to see the application for this job from this position, and it hasn't even been done yet. Isn't it kind of backwards that we're hiring a person that hasn't even filled out his job application yet? We're just going off his resume?
The resume is going to be attached. I don't see the big difference, John. The
Well,
same information's on his resume that's going to be put on his job application. We just had the highway department, we had a email from Becky the other day saying that highway had to take on extra guys because of the snowstorm, and now we've had 2 guys in buildings and grounds, busting their humps to get things picked up and cleaned up, and we're heading into the worst part of winter. I don't see the harm in delaying. The employee, the guy that we're going to hire, was in the Navy for the last 5 years. You can't call up the Department of the Navy and say, can you get any information about this employee? That doesn't happen. He's honorably discharged. We asked him if he had a driver's license. He said yes. If that turns out to be false, in our handbook it says any misinformation or misstatements are subject to immediate dismissal.
Can I say something? I understand John's concern, but he has to also understand that we received, this went out who are we looking for? We worked off the resumes that were sent to us before, about a month ago, when we were doing a replacement. When Sean left, I believe, that was first one. We had over 100 applications. So I think the way to go would have been the resume. Like I said, I understand your concern, but we didn't have 100 people, fill out applications. Would you have preferred when we brought people in, say, could you fill it out? Maybe that would have been the way to go. But it was it was an oversight. We were going by the applications. That's how they chose the people to be interviewed. So.
And my concern, Benny, isn't so much calling up the Navy and finding out, but running any person that works in parks where they're working around children come spring should have a background check done. And I assume we did it on the other 2 employees. I know when I helped out with the summer program, just as an EMT, the state ran all my information.
I'd like to see it added to the handbook that all hires have background checks. They're representing our town and they're interacting with the public and children at all times. So I think I'm going to go towards that with the handbook changes.
And to be quite honest with you, I don't think we're going to get 38-inch snowfalls every week, and I don't see this as being an emergency that we got to hire somebody right away.
We have been shorthanded off and on since summer. And there are little things that didn't get done, and now they won't probably, and there's no way they're going to get done now until spring hits. And I just want to be sure that we have enough people doing the right work. And 2 guys for the work that they have to do is not enough. I think we're all in agreement with that.
Did you get a second? Did Frank second?
Yes, he did. Amanda, can you hold the board, please?
Councilman Blaisdell.
Yes.
Councilwoman Carr.
Yes, with the conditions that Councilman Saxon noted.
Councilman Froelich.
No.
Councilman Isakson.
Yes.
Supervisor Zalotnik.
Yes. Thank you. Next up will be our monthly reports. Animal control, I have spoken to the town of Malta. They have yet to put together figures for the calls that they have had for us. As we all know, we've had no applications for our dog control officer, so Malta has been covering for us. The bill for the month of December has not been set out by the town of Malta yet, so when it comes in, we'll let everybody know. Building department.
Building Department report for November 2020. Dear Supervisors Zalotnik and Town Board members. During the month of November, the Building Department processed 28 building permits and collected $5,744.61 in building permit fees. We completed 121 construction inspections and responded to 14 code enforcement complaints and 15 fire inspections. A total of 23 permits were closed, with 11 certificates of occupancy and 12 certificates of compliance being issued. We also collected $250 in zoning fees and $4,000 in sewer fees. Please find the appropriate itemized reports attached. Respectfully submitted, William Lewis, Building Inspector.
Buildings and grounds. Frank, do you have it?
Yes, completed leaf removal from the parks and surrounding areas, winterized equipment, parking at parks and playgrounds, ran the line to the offices, new office trailer, repaired a broken water line in Kimball Park, and removed a whole lot of snow. That's what we did.
Thank you, Frank.
Benny, what was the broken water line in Kimball Park?
of the shut-offs, somebody ran over it with a mower, and when it went to be shut off, it couldn't be, the top of it couldn't be turned with the tool with the 2 prongs, so they had to dig down and replace that mechanism down at the bottom so they could shut the water off for the sprinkler lines.
Wonderful, thank you.
I'm pretty sure I handed out the controller's budget to actual report for everybody. It's also online on our website. Highway Department?
I don't have a highway report, but I'd just like to give you a little information. And I know people were upset that their streets weren't necessarily gotten to quickly, but if we look at the snowstorm we had, when I talked to Jason, he got up at midnight and he had about 3 inches of snow on the ground. And that lasted until about 2 o'clock in the morning, and between 2 and 6, they got the other 30 inches. So they were really at a disadvantage, had trouble, the trucks had trouble. It was basically going out conditions. So I would hope people would be understanding that they really did a bang-up job for the conditions they were against.
Thank you, John. Town historian, you okay if I read it, Karen?
Yes, please.
Okay. This is from our historian, Karen Stalters. I continue to be working from home and answering research questions documenting the COVID-19 pandemic. That book's got to be getting pretty thick by now, Karen.
I've got 6 books.
The Historic Structures and Places Committee met on December 2nd, 2020 at the Community Center and discussed the status of the West Milton Cemetery and the zoning variance requested involving the Circle C Cemetery. It was noted that the 1780 British Raid on Middle Line Road virtual presentation is now available on YouTube for viewing. Jim Richmond also highlighted some of the Brookside Museum's upcoming plans. The next meeting is planned for January 18th. Our committee has a busy winter planned with updating our guidelines and research for new roadside historical marker to be placed commemorating the importance of the Cateros Creek. Brookside Museum has been posting to their website many virtual programs in the wake of the pandemic. Check out their website, please. An upcoming project they are working on now is about local country stores. I am still looking for pictures for My Young store in West Milton and Keir's store in Rock City Falls. If you know of any person that could help me with this, please have them contact me. In early December, I received a programmatic report from the Kesselring site as they are reporting to the town any adverse effects from the demolition of their historic Building 1. No adverse effects were noted. This building was constructed in 1950 and was used as the main entry point onto the site for visitors and employees. A building survey was completed with a 100-plus page book documenting the structure, including 34 color pictures of the building before the demolition would happen in June of 2020. The New York State Preservation Office also received a copy of the same materials. Respectfully submitted, Karen Stalters, Town Historian. Thank you, Karen. Town Clerk.
All right, so we did 2 marriage licenses, 6 certified marriage certificates, 21 death certificates, 3 oil and search of records, 71 dog licenses, 19 hunting and fishing licenses, 3 PDD applications in escrow. So the town share was $1,291.63. Development fees came to $50,000 and escrow fees were $100,000.
Thank you. Town Justice.
Quickly, there's a temporary closure, so there's no report available for this month.
Thank you, Ryan. From the tax collector, I don't have anything, but I did speak to Lisa this afternoon. As you guys have noticed, our officers are now up front. Beginning in January, only cash will be accepted in person and by appointment only. There will be a drop box that we're going to set up outside the building, and you can tap on the window, let her know you're there. You can put it in the drop box, and she'll come out and take it out after you're gone. We're trying very hard to limit person-to-person contact with this department, and we think this is a solution that works for everybody. So once again, only cash payments will be in person, and that needs to be by appointment only. Do we have any liaison reports?
The only meeting we had this month was the planning board, zoning board was canceled because of the storm. But they did have a site plan review and SUP application for Rollins Street LLC. It's at 352 Rollins Street. Most people recognize it as that empty lot between Cumberland Farms and Ballston Bank. And Napa has put in an application to put their business in there with a small rental place for another commercial spot. There will be a public hearing January 20th at 7:05. And there was a site plan review application for 91 Hutchins Road. There was the addition of some two-car garages to the Hutchins Road project, housing project. That was approved. That's it.
Thank you. Okay, if we're finished there, we will open up the floor to public comment. Anyone? Just make sure the switch is on top there. There you go.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right, good. I want to make sure I can put my mask on. Yes, ma'am. I am Michael Landis, Landis. I live at 272 Meadowlark Drive. On the road. All good? All right, 3 things. I'll be quick about it. First of all, I respectfully request that we have public comment at the beginning of meetings as well as at the end. I know in the past that you have allowed that, I think, I recall in the before times. That way we can weigh in on things before votes are taken, or kind of offering our own comments. Sometimes it can be frustrating to hear you guys talk and not be able to weigh in. Second, I respectfully ask that the next time the issue of Mr. Dingling comes up for discussion and his licensure, that a request is made to have him change the tune that he uses. I wish it was funny. Some of you might know the tune, the classic ice cream truck tune is actually very offensive. It's based on a song called Nigger Loves a Watermelon. It's a minstrel song. It would be nice, any other tune would be fine, but not one with a...
I just felt it's annoying because I hear it.
It is also annoying, but my problem is the history of it. That if you know your history, it has very dark roots, which can be very offensive. So I don't know if that's something we can do about it now. Next time around, please take that into consideration and change the song. Thirdly, I think it's important to note that Mr. Dingling has a discussion about his ability to operate in this town, but we are still lacking any kind of public discussion or any action on your part about Planet's operations. And that I speak for a great deal of people, and the reckoning is coming soon. I'm giving you the board some warning here. We feel it is outrageous that the ice cream truck gets more attention than the massive waste management and mountain of trash and constant operations that occur in my backyard and in many of our backyards. So please take that into consideration. We're going to expect some action. More on that coming up soon. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Thank you and Merry Christmas. I just want to say thank you to the board for passing a resolution to set a date for a public rate hearing on March 4th. Special acknowledgement to Councilman Froelich for putting forth that, and to everybody for voting for it. I look forward to working with the town in acquiring those documents, John. I think that's a good beginning list to have tax returns and hookup certified and comments back from the county sewer district, and welcome the opportunity to have this public rate hearing. We've asked about it for years, and thank you. I certainly appreciate it. I don't know if my brother's going to say anything, but both of us appreciate that and look forward to the great hearing. A couple other things quickly. I knew Rich Pine. He worked hard for this town. He was a unique individual, and I just give a shout out, Richie, wherever you are. God bless you. And Shannon, I'm sure she's going through a tough time, and my thoughts are with her also. Quick note, on your way home, if you just go south of the North Line Rollins Street intersection, you'll see Mr. Christmas. He's got a great decoration. I don't know who the folks are, but it is absolutely awesome. More people ought to do it. It looks great. Thank you, and Happy New Year.
Come on, Bruce.
Sorry,
It's Christmas.
I wasn't gonna say that.
Oh, please.
Since you insist, there's usually not much important to say. Thank you. You know, we come here week after week, and we are ardent advocates for what we believe is the right thing to do in the town of Milton. And even though we endeavor to deliver our message in the most professional manner we know how, I'm sure you grow weary of hearing it. So I just want to say thank you very much for listening. And if you recall the words of the old song, even Snoopy and Red Baron took a break. So just want to wish you all a very Merry Christmas and the best for New Year. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We do have a question from Sharon Licata. It says, are the current financial statements available? Specifically, how did sales tax come in for September, and is October number available yet? September's number was out there. I don't remember what it was. We did get in our package that's on your table here, folks, is our sales tax distribution for well, that says September. We did get it, and it was about $6,000 more than we expected, or than we got last year. For the year, we are up nothing substantial, about 3 or 4%, which relates to about, I think it's about $6,000 that we're up for the year. But a lot of communities are down, and some communities are down double digits. So we'll take that as a Christmas gift from everybody. Sharing those numbers should be on the website. If not, give me a call tomorrow, and I will dig them out and get them for you. That being said, anybody wish to comment that is out in our viewing audience tonight? Ms. Herbst, hang on just one second. Ms. Herbst, you're up.
Thank you, Supervisor. I just wanted to thank the board for putting the sewer hearing on the agenda. It's a little disappointing that we have to wait till March, but I'm glad at least it's getting done. Thank you, Mr. Froelich, for pushing that through and asking for all those supporting documents, because I think that will be very helpful. So thank you. You know, as somebody who's been fighting for this for quite a while now, we appreciate that the town has taken into consideration all of our concerns and is addressing it. So thank you.
Bridget, we need your address.
586 Apple Boulevard, Boston.
Anyone else? Going once? Going twice? I will close public comment. Two things before we go home for the year. This is a COVID dashboard from the county for the town of Milton. As of this morning, we have had 248 confirmed cases. We have 100 active, 146 have recovered, and unfortunately we have had 2 deaths in the town from this. So as much as we all want to get together and be with our family at our families extended as they are over Christmas, I know personally our family is not doing what we've usually done, and I'm sure a lot of families aren't doing what they've usually done, but it's really for everybody's safety, especially some of us who have older parents and just don't want to put them in that situation. Secondly, I'm going to make a little statement here. We had a pipe burst in Town Hall on Monday. We hope it was Monday. And there was some water, there was a lot of water damage to the basement. When I say damage, I mean just the carpet had to be taken out. The walls have been dried out. We called quick response. As soon as we knew what was going on, they came in and are taking care of the problem. The situation arose because our facilities committee met in October, and the decision was made to leave the heat on at 55 degrees for the winter rather than winterize the building because of the convoluted plumbing. Highway would have no water if we shut the water off to our building. That information did not get relayed to our buildings and grounds people, so since we weren't air conditioning the building for the summer, they would have had no way to know that the heat or air conditioning was off. The few times that we were in the building, we were in there briefly to pick up papers or move some file cabinets out, and it was before December really got cold. So the problem is being resolved, and there's my own timer. And when we get further information from our insurance company, we will pass it on to the public. Without executive session, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Oh, one quick thing. I'm going to regale you with my favorite Richie Pine story. Richie and I were good friends. Richie loved to fish. And Richie would go up to Lake Champlain, he would eat catfish of all things. So one day Richie says to me, he says, "John, do you like catfish?" And I said, "Well, I've never really had catfish." "Richie, I'd give it a try." Unbeknownst to me, about a week later, at about 6:30 in the morning, I hear all this commotion outside, and here's Richie on the back of his truck with a half-dozen catfish, filleting them out for me. That wasn't too bad, but then he gives me those catfish and he leaves, and I open up the bag and they smelled so fishy I almost passed out. I threw them out. And to this, I never told Richie that I threw those catfish out.
Just did.
Yeah, that's my favorite thought of Richie, to be honest with you.
So I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
Need a second.
I'll second.
Thanks, Frank. Any discussion? Amanda, can you hold the board, please?
Councilman Blaisdell.
Yes.
Councilwoman Carr.
Yes?
Councilman Froelich.
Yes.
Councilman Isakson.
Yes.
Supervisor Zalotnik.
Yes. Thank you. Good night. Have a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, and whatever holiday you do celebrate, I hope yours is a good one. Thank you.